Joining us is Hussein Banai. He is an associate professor at the Hamilton Lugar School of Global and International Studies. That's, of course, in IU Bloomington. He has been following this developing story as well. Professor Banai, thank you so much for hopping on with us to chat about this morning.
Thank you for having me on, and good morning.
So let's start with the back and forth, as a lot has happened. Both sides are trading accusations, Iran claiming that Israeli strikes went on longer than Israel reported, though no official terms of any ceasefire have been made public just yet. And Israel claims that Iran launched new missiles unprovoked. Do we have any way of knowing exactly where this led to where we are right now?
We don't know exactly. I think the extent of violation of the ceasefire terms is something that we cannot verify because we do not know what the terms of the ceasefire exactly were. And I think this is one of the perils of forging a ceasefire by tweet, as the President of the United States seems to be doing kind of in a very spectacular fashion, really unprecedented in modern history of international relations, to be able to directly speak to the leaders of other countries and try to impose the terms of ceasefire on them, as President Trump has been doing. But it's one thing that's very clear is that this ceasefire is very fragile because both sides are not exactly exhausted. Usually ceasefires take hold when both parties are desperate for an end because they've either exhausted their munitions or because their societies are suffering. And we're still, comparatively speaking, early in this war. It's only been 12 days, and Israel especially feels that they have not completely achieved the objectives of their campaign.
Now, this morning, President Trump blamed both countries for violating the ceasefire, but his tone seemed to take particular aim at Israel. What do you make of the president and what he said so far?
Yes, I think it's very clear that maybe the president's very public admonition of both sides perhaps irked Israeli leaders, especially Israeli leader Benjamin Netanyahu, who had really counted on President Trump's unwavering support. I think the Israelis felt like they had the Iranians on the back foot, and they would very much still like to target as many military and security installments inside Iran, and perhaps even get to a place where they can bring the regime to the brink of collapse. And felt that the call for immediate ceasefire really puts a damper on that. And I think the president, who really wants this war to end and be seen as someone who brokered that ceasefire, is obviously putting a stop to those plans.
Now, you previously said here that the timing of the initial strikes back on June 13th suggested Israel may be aiming for a diplomatic solution when it comes to that nuclear issue. How does this exactly shape the odds of sustained peace or even another attempt at a ceasefire?
Well, the bargaining board has completely changed in that 12 days ago, negotiations were about an Iranian nuclear program that had not been attacked, that was very much advanced. We still don't know the damage assessments exactly of what especially the American bombardment of the 3 nuclear installations in Iran have done to set back the Iranian program. So any future negotiations will have to be around a completely different set of bargaining chips for both sides. If Iran no longer has the capacity to highly enriched uranium to bomb grade, then it would have to negotiate over other aspects of its defensive posture, its missiles, its relationship with regional powers, etc. So we have to see what exactly has happened, and usually news of the results of those bombing campaigns are going to take some time to trickle out.
My final question for you, what kind of response may we see from other Arab nations now that those tensions are once again on the rise?
I think the Arab countries neighboring Iran and Israel would very much like for as quick a resolution to this conflict as possible, because it impacts commerce, it impacts tourism, it impacts their national security picture as long as this war goes on. We've all seen the pictures of flight radar of the skies being completely clear of airplane traffic. Well, that hurts Arab countries' economies. But more importantly, I think stability of the oil prices and oil markets is something that countries in that region especially pay attention to, and they would not like to see the flow of oil being disrupted.
A lot of things to keep our eyes on this morning, that's for sure. Professor Banai, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Jeremy.